Hey YouTube, it's Mark.
And Rocky.
And we are
This Cruise Life.
In January of 2024, we sailed with MSC Cruises for the first time. But there's a catch.
That's right. So we sailed in the Yacht Club, which was an elevated experience. And our viewers asked us, what would it be like to sail in a non-yacht club on MSC Meraviglia?
So we left the Yacht Club, and this is our full review of MSC Meraviglia. Stick around.
Our first cruise on MSC Meraviglia was a 9-night cruise. This time, it was 11 nights long. We had a much different itinerary, but we still saw some familiar faces on board. So, in traditional This Cruise Life fashion, we're gonna go over everything that we loved, what we didn't love, and what we hated.
So let's talk about the food on board. So the very first thing we did once we got on board, of course, is we went to eat. Now, MSC Meraviglia doesn't have a ton of fast casual places, and so we went to the buffet. And if you've been around for a while, you know, we're not huge buffet fans, but I will tell you, that nacho bar, they had a nacho bar that rivaled a lot of competitors out there. It had chilies, veggie chili, it had pepperoncinis, it had
Cheese
salsas, cheese sauce,
guacamole.
It just keeps going and going
Yeah.
and going. I made a giant pile of nachos, and it was amazing.
It was really good. He even let me take a couple of bites. I also really enjoyed on the buffet. They had burgers wrapped up in foil. It was kind of a strange concept at first, but upon unwrapping it and taking my first bite, it was so moist and so flavorful. I really enjoyed these burgers.
They were really good, and it was really a cool concept because it was just grab and go. You grabbed a burger, you grabbed a hot dog, you grabbed whatever you wanted from the buffet station, and they were, I will agree, I got a couple of those this week.
Yes.
Now, I commented they kind of tasted a little bit like high school cafeteria burgers.
Right.
I know that probably doesn't sound great, but they really were tasty.
They were delicious.
And do you know what they had on this buffet? They had Hawaiian pizza. Yes, there was pineapple
on a pizza.
In January, they said it could not be done. I don't know if they listened to my feedback in the survey or watched our videos, but there was ham and pineapple pizza. The pizza on board MSC, again this time, just like it was in January, it was delicious. That crust,
Yes.
we could go for a piece right now.
That was so good. I enjoyed that many, many times.
Oh my gosh.
And then the other meals that we had in the buffet were actually really good. We went there for breakfast on a couple of occasions.
Those breakfast
The
sandwiches.
breakfast sandwiches were really good. All of the offerings that they had in the breakfast buffet were actually really nice.
Rocky, did you like the breakfast empanadas?
Strange, but yes.
They were delicious.
I don't know why they were empanadas. They were your standard beef type.
Now there were some things that we didn't love about the buffet, which we'll get to in a little bit, and you'll want to stick around for that.
Yeah.
But we didn't just eat at the buffet.
No, that's true. The other place that we ate on the ship was in the main dining room for dinner, and we loved that service that we got.
I was really surprised by the main dining room on MSC. So that's where they get a lot of negative comments. But this was, the service was phenomenal.
Yes.
It was tablecloth service. They didn't make me, remember on Carnival, they were always like, take your fork for your next course. They swapped out the silverware on each course. I realized, now that, like some of you might be watching and be like, well, isn't that just standard? No, it's not standard on all of the lines.
Right.
I mean, I felt like it was an elevated experience to Carnival.
Right. And they also had bread baskets every single night of the cruise.
There were some absolute winners in the main dining room. Look at this Texas-style pulled pork with mac and cheese. It was amazing.
And just like last time on this ship, I really enjoyed the braised lamb shank. It was so flavorful and tasty, and I could go for some more right now.
Now, we tweeted out every single menu with pictures of the food that we got. We didn't love every item in the main dining room, and we'll tell you about that in a little bit as well.
Right, but we did love the service from our servers was fantastic. Every night when we showed up, they would have our drinks waiting for us at the dinner table. They took such great care of us. So the main dining room was a fantastic experience.
We loved it. But we also didn't just eat at the main dining room either. If you're like, Mark and Rocky, you ate at the buffet in the main dining room. We also went to specialty dining this time around. We ate at Ola Tacos and Cantina,
Yes.
which is one of the specialty restaurants on board. We wanted to do another one, but we just, in 11 days, we just ran out of time. But Ola Tacos and Cantina was, I'll let you talk about
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
It was
yes.
it was that good. So they have two different options when you go to Ola Tacos and Cantina. You can go there for lunch or dinner. It's the same menu that's available. You have the option of going a la carte, ordering everything off of the menu that you choose to enjoy. The pricing wasn't that bad. It was very comparable to what we see on land. However, they had this really awesome unlimited option. It was $17.99 at the time of our sailing, and it was all you can eat. We had tacos, we had cheese dips, we had burritos, we had
Tostadas.
tamales, enchiladas,
Don't forget the tres leches.
and the desserts.
oh my gosh.
So much fun, such good food. Bring a hungry stomach if you're gonna go.
Bring your appetite and do the bottomless. I absolutely loved that experience. Now, we did talk to some other cruisers who said they didn't love it. I really enjoyed the chips and salsa, the homemade guacamole. There were so many options on that menu. The only thing that I didn't love, and this is not, it didn't really impact the experience overall because we just replaced it with other stuff.
Yep.
The enchiladas were just okay. Ironically, the people that we talked to that didn't love the experience, they got the enchiladas. Ironic. So maybe skip those or get the bottomless and try them. And if you also don't like them, send them away and grab some tacos.
There you go.
Overall, we didn't go hungry for 11 days.
No.
In fact, I've gone to the gym several times. Since being home, we've done the gym.
Yep.
We put on some weight on MSC Meraviglia. Thank you.
All right, so let's change gears and talk about the drinks and what we loved about the drinks on MSC Meraviglia.
And I'm going to start this one because I love the champagne bar.
Oh, yes.
I talked about it even when we were in the Yacht Club. We would leave the Yacht Club and go to this venue. The blueberry lavender spritz that Kadak made for me every single day. I love that venue. I love that space.
Yes.
It's never too busy. You can walk right up to the bar, and they make a variety of the champagne bar, champagne-based cocktails.
Right.
Highly recommend.
Absolutely. Speaking of the ambience of the champagne bar, we loved the Sky Lounge. They always had live entertainers in there, and it was really a great atmosphere. And the drinks were also pretty good in that space as well.
Yeah.
So,
I enjoyed a lemon drop or two.
absolutely.
Speaking of venues that we drank at, Luis at the Horizon Bar, if you have him on board, he's gonna try to get you enjoying a lot of diet sodas.
Yes.
He
Yes.
makes shots like you wouldn't believe. He introduced us to the Pink Lady, a gin drink that we would have never known gin was in there. They make some awesome cocktails back at the Horizon Bar. We drank there several nights.
We did.
That's also the night club, the evening kind of bar that the party happens.
Yep.
And so we drank back there several times.
Yep. And we really enjoyed having the drinks package. On this cruise, we decided to get the Easy Plus package, which includes drinks up to $10 in value across any of the venues on board.
Y'all, sorry, I wasn't gonna leave the Yacht Club and not at least have drinks.
It's true. And we weren't disappointed. I was a little concerned going into it that, are we going to find any drinks that are under $10?
All
and
of
the
them.
answer is yes.
Not
A
all of them.
large majority of the drinks are available at that $10 Easy Plus package. So if you have any hesitations, like you're not going to find anything, you're in good hands.
Now, we did see some folks in the Facebook group complain about the Easy package.
Correct.
Because it only includes one type of beer. Here's my cruise tip. Study the packages before you book your sailing
Yes.
and buy a package, study them.
Yes.
And if what you normally drink isn't included in the package, don't get that package. That is really, really important. And every cruise line does their packages a little bit differently. So please spend 5 minutes and understand what is in each of the different packages.
Agreed. While we're not huge coffee drinkers on land, we did discover that pretty much every bar on the ship has coffee available. And it's not just coffee from a pot. They have full-on espresso machines.
It's an Italian ship, of
Right.
course.
We loved this. So when we would go to one of our favorite venues or we were heading around the ship and, one of those early mornings and we were feeling groggy, we could just swing by our favorite bartenders and ask them for a vanilla latte, a mocha latte, or anything else that we were craving for the day. And it was easy to get and super good.
Yeah,
Loved the quality.
They were delicious. A couple of times I didn't have enough vanilla in mine, and so I just went up and kindly asked, could you add more vanilla? And they always did it with a smile. The Edge Bar, that was our go-to
That was
spot.
our go-to.
And what I also love about MSC's drinks package is there's not like this waiting limit like there are on some cruise lines, and it's not like you can only have one at a time and then wait 5 minutes. No, I could grab 2 lattes, or I could grab a latte and a water, or I could grab 2 drinks, so that we didn't both have to go up to order. It actually was really convenient. And another thing that I really liked about the drinks on board, but waters, sparkling and still, both included in the package, which I loved.
Yeah, that made it really nice. And lastly, while yes, we're talking about the drinks, when we were enjoying our drinks at the various bars on the ship, we would receive a little tray of potato chips or warmed nuts to enjoy with our drinks.
Remember the chocolate brittle in the Sky Lounge? Oh my gosh. It was just a nice little touch.
Nice little touch of service.
Yes. There was a lot to love about the drinks on board MSC Meraviglia, even outside of the Yacht Club. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to visit so many friendly crew members at the various bars. So let's jump on into now what we loved about the entertainment on board. And good entertainment starts with a good cruise director. Gavin, the cruise director on board, he was everywhere, but not in that overburdensome kind of way. He would stop by and talk with us in the evenings in the Sky Lounge, and whenever he saw you on the ship, he made it a point to say hello, and he led with positivity. Do you remember every day he had just a positive message to share, which resonates a ton with us because we always say lead with the good, and so we just really loved our time with Gavin on board.
Absolutely, and it was so fun to watch him interact with other guests. It wasn't just the two of us because of this cruise life, but really Gavin was genuine, and he really made an impact on everyone's sailing on board the Meraviglia, which was great.
He hosted daily trivias that we went to.
So much fun.
On Sea Days. If you get a chance to go to Sea Day Trivia with Gavin, go. It's not about the questions, y'all. It's about the community and the jokes and just the fun time that you have there.
Absolutely. We had a blast every time that we went. Other entertainment that we really enjoyed on the cruise, they brought on a couple of solo performers, and we loved watching Nina Sky perform. Yep. Her opening act was a Whitney Houston tribute, which was phenomenal. And then we also enjoyed watching Nathan James and his amazing talents bringing back some rock and roll to the stage.
Keith Bender, the comedian, he was great. We saw a PG show. We saw an adult show. That was fun. And that was just the folks that they brought on because it was a little bit of a longer sailing. Then you had the production show. So we saw these production shows in January and we really enjoyed them. Yeah. Wonderville actually filled my heart. I really enjoyed The Magician and The Mentalist and all of those things. I don't know how they do it. I still have no idea.
He's been asking me the whole time.
But I really loved that show. They had Encore, the Broadway show. They just had a variety of stage shows with the international singers and dancers, as Gavin would always say, the international cast.
Yeah.
And so there was always something going on from an entertainment at night perspective.
Right. And in January, we also checked out the shows in the Carousel Lounge. We saw Houdini and Rock Circus. Well, when we saw Gavin this time around, he said, "You gotta go see them again because it's a whole new cast."
Twist our arm.
So we did. We went and saw Rock Circus and Houdini, and the new cast was out of this world. They had so much energy. They actually did some new acts because it was a different cast and what they're familiar with.
Here's my cruise tip. Book it ahead of time. So I realize it sounds weird to pay for a theater show. It's a whole separate venue with a separate cast. That's why they have a charge to it. Ahead of time, it's $12, and it includes a cocktail. And those cocktails are, remember
big.
That?
It was a mule.
That mule. Oh, it was so
good. Yes.
$12 ahead of time. It's $18 when you're on the ship. And so you actually do save, if you're going with 2 people, you save an admission across the 2 shows.
Yeah.
Do it. Check them out. I would say check out Houdini personally, but they're both really good.
I loved Rock Circus.
See, I'm glad we went to both.
Exactly.
And one of the favorite things that you know that we love to do on a cruise ship. Rocky, what is that?
The silent disco.
We didn't love it in January. There were issues with the technology. There were issues with lines. And so this time around, it was so much better. First and foremost, we went ahead of when checkout began.
Yes.
That made a huge difference.
Yes.
So we didn't have to wait in long lines to get our equipment. And second, I didn't have a single blip on that equipment.
No.
Not once. And they had 2 silent discos.
Right.
It was a blast.
We had so much fun. We also enjoyed several of the other events on board, including the welcome back party. MSC does a great job at making their repeat cruisers feel welcome. And so we had the opportunity to see Gavin, and we met the captain of the ship, Captain Alex. He was phenomenal. So much energy, so fun, such a happy guy.
One of the funniest captains. I mean, we've sailed with a lot of captains, and they're all great in their own ways, but the captain of the MSC Meraviglia is phenomenal.
Yes.
He makes you feel like you are part of something, and he was just so kind and gracious to us the entire cruise.
The entire cruise. We also got to meet several other officers at that welcome back party, including Maria. Maria is in charge of the Yacht Club, and she stole our hearts.
Now, we're going to do a separate video about Maria and why we will book MSC again. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because it is story time that you will not want to miss. I've got goosebumps.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We were also introduced to 2 of the international hostesses on board, Mia and Paula. You both are amazing. Thank you so much for making us feel at home and making us feel welcome whenever we saw you.
I know I've already given several cruise tips, but here's one more. When you're on board MSC Meraviglia, make it a point to say hello to the crew and get to know, attend the various events and get to know them. Go to the captain's Q&A with the hotel director. Go to some of these events and actually spend a little bit of your vacation getting to know the crew. I promise you, it will make your vacation extra special. I mean, these folks that we met, I mean, and we're not going to name them all. We will never name them all. I don't want Anna feeling left out. I don't want anyone feeling left out.
Right.
There are so many amazing crew on board this ship.
Absolutely. And lastly, we really enjoyed getting the opportunity to sit in the front row for those shows. We love watching entertainment, and when we can get right up there and really be a part of it, it makes us so happy.
Look at these pictures. Boom, boom, boom. How great is that? Finally, we're going to wrap up what we loved about the ship in the general category, starting with stateroom. It was the first time ever that our suitcases arrived at the stateroom before we did. We went to drop off our laptop bags, and the suitcases were already there.
Wild. We loved our stateroom steward. Yusa was fantastic at taking care of us. He was always there, always ready to help out. And not just once a day, he came and serviced our room 2 times a day with turn down service at night.
When's the last time we've seen that?
It's been a while.
We loved the decor and the lighting of that stateroom.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing that we've never seen before is that mattress topper. It actually, on a king-size bed, they did an entire topper that went across both, so you don't have any valleys between the 2 twins.
It was phenomenal.
Amazing.
Last thing I'll mention is a ton of just space to move around that room. We had a place where we put all of our shoes, and then there was just an area that you could just walk around. I really liked the interior room on board MSC Meraviglia.
Beautiful.
Okay, what else did we love about the ship?
So when we got to the port at the start of the day, our boarding ticket actually said fast track on it. We had no idea what this meant, but we'll tell you, it definitely got us onto the ship faster.
Essentially, it's the cruise ready. We talked to a port official. They said it was just the renamed cruise ready. So you've done all of your check-in. Everything is ready to go. You've done your health questionnaire, etc. They put us to a single line. We were the very first people through the line. Security, honestly, security was super easy. Everything was smooth. We were worried because in the Yacht Club, they escorted us personally through this whole thing. We're like, can we do this on our own? Turns out we can. And it was super slick.
It was.
Super fast. And then we went tons of seating for you to be able to wait for boarding to begin. Something that was unique that I've never seen before, they had a pay coffee cart in the terminal where you could go buy coffees and danishes. That was weird, but
and lanyards.
But I mean, cool. People did it. And so that was cool.
Yeah. We'll talk about what we didn't love about the boarding process, but once we did get onto the ship, we loved the included chat feature within the MSC for Me app.
We used it in January and we used it again. Cruise tip, go to some of the meetups on board, whether it's the singles meetup or the LGBTQ plus meetup or whatever it is, meet and make some friends on board and then chat with them in the app.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's great. And you can create little group chats and everything.
It's
It's fantastic.
Now, I know we already talked about Maria from the Yacht Club, but just a shout out to the entire Yacht Club staff who recognized us. We talked to Nilesh, we talked to Miru up at the bar. We talked to Caroline and Irish. And so many. And the concierge. We love the Yacht Club staff. Thank you for doing what you do and making a difference every day.
Absolutely. So switching gears into the actual cruise itself, we really enjoyed how MSC scheduled the ports. We had long days, the ship would arrive early and stay late. It really made it nice for us to be able to get off the ship and really explore, which was fantastic.
None of those 2 p.m. call times.
No. And the other nice thing was it was really quick and easy getting both on and off the ship. We never saw long lines because we always had 4 gangways open, which made really efficient operations.
Now, we can't guarantee that'll happen for your sailing, but it was awesome this week.
It was.
Do you remember when we would arrive to ports, we would actually go up on deck? There was tons of space. I was a little worried because the Yacht Club is at the entire front of the MSC Meraviglia. I was worried that I wasn't gonna have places to take pictures. But look at this sunset and look at this port picture. Like, there were so many public spaces where you could go and you could take in the beauty of the islands or the beauty of the ocean. I really like that about this ship.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. We remember this from last time we were on board, but that free sauna was amazing. And actually this time they had even more towels available. Actually, they had towels available, which was fantastic. They must have been listening to our videos. It was so nice. The only thing that we had...
Here's January. Here's this last sailing.
Yeah, you can see the difference. And they kept it stocked the entire cruise. The only thing that we ask, if you are going to go to any sauna of any type, please be respectful of others that are enjoying the space.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. We don't want to listen to your music. No offense. Now, one of the coolest unexpected perks of this sailing was the number of folks that came up to us to thank us for the Yacht Club videos we put out. Lisa and Lou came up to us and thanked us for letting them know where to drop their bags and look for the tent. It was super cool getting the chance to meet other folks on board. I mean, we met a ton of folks on board.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a minute, though.
Yes. And then one other thing that is worth mentioning is just the overall design of the ship. It has such a refined look to it with all of the design elements and that beautiful hall, the Galleria area where you just have the LED screens. It's just such a beautiful ship.
We've talked about relaxed debark many times. I don't have to reiterate it again, but I will say, look at this line to get off the ship. There were some delays with customs, and as there can be, and we always talk about it, we didn't mind. We went to the dining room, we had a relaxed breakfast, then we went out and we hung out in the lounge, and we just relaxed. So keep that in mind when you get off of the MSC Meraviglia. Plan a little bit of extra time and spend your last minutes not stressing out in line.
Right. Final 2 things. A huge thank you to all of the crew that we interacted with in January who remembered who we were when we stepped foot back on the ship.
Makes a huge difference and creates brand loyalty for sure. And all of the people, I know I already said it just a minute or 2 ago, all of the people that we had the chance to meet on board. Brian joins our lives. We had a chance to meet him and mom and dad. They adopted us for the week. It was just so amazing. We met so many great people. Several of our subscribers, several of our followers came up. We got selfies, tag us at This Cruise Live so we can shout you out. It was a blast. We always say it, cruising is about the people as much as it is about the ports that we visit, and we loved meeting so many wonderful people on board.
Yes, thank you.
As always, y'all, there was a lot to love about our 11 days on board MSC Meraviglia. So much. But as always, there's some stuff that we didn't love. Now, we hinted to a couple of these things earlier on in the video, but first that I'll bring up is under the food category. We didn't love that the buffet just had the same chips and cheese every single day. The first 2 days, I loved it. But by day 10, I wanted something different. I don't understand. Last time they rotated the ethnic corner and they had noodle dishes and the stir fries and Thai dishes. This time they just had chips and cheese. Now, I will say, to be fair, they did on every table have, we're redesigning the buffet, take this survey. The lack of variety, though, there was still a lot, but it was weird.
Yeah. And speaking of food that we didn't love, the main dining room lunch service was just okay. We didn't really enjoy the food as much. There was a lot of inconsistencies between several different dining tables. What we saw, what we had, The temperature was not exactly where it should have been, and that dining room was loud.
There were a couple of dishes that we didn't love. The queso fundido that Rocky ordered one night in the main dining room. Look at this picture.
It was not queso fundido.
What in the world is that? And you didn't really love the hamburgers from the outdoor buffet.
Right, so the buffet is mostly inside, and then there's an outdoor service area where they've got hot dogs and hamburgers and sometimes pizza. The hamburgers out there were dry. The bun had been sitting out. They had just put out fresh burger patties, and the burgers weren't even that juicy or flavorful.
Okay, so not a ton of things that we didn't like about the food, but the things that we didn't like were pretty big deals.
Yeah.
And so I am very hopeful that they move quickly on redesigning the buffet experience because it is different than it was in January.
Right.
Moving into the drinks, one of the things that's borderline a hate for me, we put it in didn't love, but I really don't love how most every bar has the same menu. There's no variety in the drinks. And so when you have the drinks package, yes, sure, I could just order my standard that I love to drink, but I like variety.
Yes.
Here's a tip for MSC cruises if you're watching. Add 3 specialty cocktails at each one of the bars so it feels like there's something unique when you go to it. Look at this bar menu, bar menu, bar menu, bar menu. They're all the same. That was a miss to me.
It was. And speaking of those bar experiences, we had a lot of mixed interactions. Sometimes the crew was really fast to come and take our order, and other times we would have to flag them down. Or we would flag someone down and they would take our order, and then it would take a while for us to get our drinks back. There was a lot of inconsistencies within the bar services.
Yeah, I would agree. Speaking of bars, I know I shouted out Luis at the Horizon Bar, but we didn't love the location.
No.
It's that weird pinch point hallway to get to the entire outside, and so while you're drinking there at night, people are still trying to walk through to get aft of the ship. We saw kids there again. It's just a weird. I don't like that space on board.
Agreed. And when we were in the buffet, the juices were very inconsistent on how they were presented. Sometimes they were very watered down, other times there just wasn't any juice.
It was weird. Look at this video. And the ice machines were broken. Just the machines in the buffet in general, most of the time didn't work. It was weird.
Yeah, they've been beaten up.
Yeah. So a couple things we didn't love about the drinks, but there's also some things that we didn't love about the entertainment.
Right. The schedules for all of the shows and anything else that's happening on the ship aren't actually distributed until just a few hours before the next day. That was a little frustrating because I want to be able to plan what's going on across the cruise.
I didn't even notice.
You didn't use it.
The parties on board, I don't love the parties on board. I don't really understand what they're designed for. They put a lot of them in the Galleria, that long with the dome. It's cool. It's a cool space, but they put some people up on a box and they dance for a little bit, and then it's just a bunch of people hanging out in that tight, congested space.
Yeah.
I don't love them.
No, agreed. And lastly, with the entertainment, the bowling. Now, there's some upcharge options that you have in the top of the ship. You can do F1.
I'm going to just move over here for this one. This is borderline hated for Rocky.
So I love bowling, but not on a cruise ship when they're going to charge you $40 for 30 minutes of bowling time. And in addition to that, there's a fee to get bowling shoes. I don't know of too many people, actually, I don't know of anyone that is traveling with their bowling ball and their bowling shoes. So really, those shoes should be included in your rental time on the lane instead of there being an additional fee of $2 per pair of shoes.
Okay, let's talk about what else we didn't love on board MSC Meraviglia. And there's just a couple of final things that we're going to hit on. There was some boarding chaos. Now, I told you that it was really smooth until we got to the seating area. All of it was really smooth for us. But then when they called Group 1 or Zone 1, there were some cultural and language issues. And so folks just hoarded because it was all done in English. And this lady got so frustrated that she just took her elbow and she started elbowing people and making her way through. It created so much drama that they had multiple staff members come over to stop boarding completely
Right.
because it was just so chaotic. So if you're going to have many foreign language speakers
Yes.
on board a cruise ship, which we'll talk about a little bit here. You got to be able to do those announcements differently because it actually was a little bit scary because everyone just thronged. And like I said, they had to call out many staff members to be able to fix it.
Right. And
Didn't love that.
no. And moving on to the ship, there were definitely a lot of cultural diversity on board the ship. There weren't announcements made in multiple languages like we experienced on our first time on Meraviglia, but then you also have just the cultural experience of how different cultures respond and interact within a large group of people. And it was a little frustrating for us not knowing how to work with those individuals, and I'm sure it was for them as well.
Yeah, now that's one of the biggest things that we hear about MSC is cultural challenges and people cutting in the buffet queue or shouting out or getting up in the middle of shows. We hear and we see those types of feedback and we saw it firsthand. So just be aware, it is going to be a melting pot of cultures on board and not all cultures follow the American standard.
It's true.
And P.S., please stop blocking the Swarovski crystal stairs for your pictures.
As we were walking through the ship, I would always comment that, Mark, why are you bringing us outdoors in the pool area where the smoking section is? It's so strange. The entire port side of deck 15, where the pool is smoking. So you always have to be aware of which side of the ship you're walking through that section on to avoid the smoke if you don't like it.
And speaking of things in public spaces that I didn't like, I commented on it in January, and I'm staying true to my comments. The public restrooms, those sinks, I always had to do this to find the sensor.
He looked so weird when he was trying to find it. I don't know why.
I don't know why they don't work for me. I don't know if they don't detect my hand or what, but I didn't love those. They were still miles ahead of Norwegian Encore.
Right. Moving into the stateroom, the sheeting itself was kind of a low thread count, or maybe overused is the right way to put it.
Nubby.
It was nubby, it was rough, and the fitted sheet, well, it wasn't fitted anymore. It was more of just a regular sheet. So as we were sleeping at night, we noticed that the fitted sheet had moved, and we may have slept a little bit on the mattress.
On the mattress pad. Oh, it was so gross. Oh.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that were gross in that stateroom, all of the leftover hangers from other cruisers, wire hangers, padded hangers, just a mismatch of hangers were left in the closet from other cruisers. I don't want to use someone's wire hanger from home. Please, just throw those out.
Yes.
Ooh.
And lastly, when we got to the stateroom, we discovered that there's a mini bar. And it was a little strange. It came pre-stocked with different items, and everything had a cost.
Of course.
So we never moved anything out, and therefore we didn't really have any storage for any of our things that we wanted to cool down.
Now, thankfully, we had the drinks package, so it didn't matter too
Right.
much, but just be aware that there is a mini bar in the room. You might want to talk to your room steward if they can pull stuff out of it. The last thing I will say that I didn't love about the room, and this is the first time it's ever happened, where a couple of items just went missing. Now, before anyone out there is like, oh, thinks nefarious things happened, I think what likely happened is in the haste of cleaning, some stuff fell off, and it either just it fell into the trash. Though, like, our cleaners were detailed, they took all of our daily programs that we had been saving because we saved them for you,
Right.
and they threw them out. And they weren't just left on the floor. We had put them in a specific area in the stateroom, and as they were cleaning, they lifted up those and threw them all out. A couple of other just personal items, eye drops, a Tide pen, etc., just disappeared. And that's the first time that's ever happened, and so didn't love that.
No. So not a huge list of things that we didn't love, but of course there were still some things that not so great for our cruise. Now moving into some of the things that, well, we didn't love, but we didn't hate.
Yeah.
Starting off with our very first thing, which was typos. There were so many typos across the ship. Both digital and printed materials had English typos. Strange.
Big
Did they need a
signage.
couple of people to sign on that can do some grammatical checks?
We're happy. We're
could do
happy
it.
to. This cruise live. Drop us a DM, MSC. The muster drill, we didn't love it. We didn't hate it. I loved not having to go to a dedicated space with 1,000 other cruisers next to me. I did love that. But
Yeah.
you watch it on the TV, you dial the number on your stateroom phone, and then you go down and you just walk through the theater. So I heard several cruisers this time say, "What are we doing?" It was just
It's a theater tour.
it's just weird. You just walk through the theater and then walk out.
Right. Something else that we didn't love, didn't hate. I'm not much of a reader, but the library is now non-existent on board.
Oh, it's still there.
Well, when we sailed in January, there were 3 books and a couple of pamphlets in German. This time, there was no material at all.
I meant to tell you on the very last day, they put up a couple of books. There were a couple of books in the library.
I am correct.
On a ship with 4,000 people, though, 3 or 5 books isn't really going to cut it for a library.
No,
in the casino.
Right.
Weird. And lastly, I didn't find the check-ins for the shows to be all that onerous or difficult to do. There was only one show across the entire 11 days that we couldn't get into, and it was a one-time only crew performance show. Otherwise, there were plenty of seats and plenty of room in the theater shows. And check-in in the app, it was a little confusing whether or not you had checked in or added it to your schedule. Make sure that you've got a ticket for your show.
Right. Oh, and remember that soft serve ice cream?
Oh, I would pick swirls hands down over that. Yeah, it was okay. I did like that they had toppings.
Yeah, that was
I had
cool.
a coconut to mine.
I had chocolate on mine.
Okay.
Chocolate sprinkles.
So that's not a love, not a didn't love. Now, let's jump in to what we hated. Probably the biggest thing that I hated about this cruise was the midnight buffet. We sold you all in January on the best midnight buffet we have ever seen on a cruise ship, and it was a sad, sad shadow of itself. Remember those scrambled eggs and bacon and hot dogs and fresh salads, healthy salads and toppings, all gone.
Gone.
All gone. Now, it's just pizza and a couple of handheld sandwiches and some cantaloupe. Oh no, I forgot.
Leftover dessert?
There was a jar of raisins. Like, it was just the saddest transition from what we saw in January to what we have now. Again, I commented on it earlier. They're going through changes to the buffet. I really hope that someone watches this and say, wow, we need to make changes to that midnight buffet. Oh, and by the way, once stuff started running out, the cantaloupe that no one ate, those dishes would just multiply. So there would be an entire buffet section of just cantaloupe and mixed fruit at 1 a.m. I don't know about you, but after I've had a lot of diet sodas, I'm not eating a lot of cantaloupe.
No, right.
Sorry. Okay, I hated that.
Yeah. Speaking of late nights, we had a lot of early morning wake-up calls in our cabin. Not something we were looking for. It was because of our room location, we were up against linen storage for all of the different linens on our floor. Yeah. And as the stewards were getting their carts ready to go for the day, it would slam up into our wall. Multiple times, multiple days, usually starting as early as 7 o'clock in the morning, we would be woken up to that.
Didn't love?
No, hated that. Hated that.
I hated the main theater screen, how broken it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was actually kind of an embarrassment.
Yes.
Now, we did talk to Gavin about it. Parts are on order. It sounds like there's some backlogs, but I mean, it was actually embarrassing when the performers went up and their names were on the stage, and it was just all pixelated. You couldn't even read some of the things.
Or the QR code for Nina Sky, you couldn't scan it?
Couldn't scan it because it was broken. The screen is broken. And the screens are so broken by the dining rooms that they've just turned them off all together now. And so, like, that, I hated that. It just looked bad for the brand.
It does. And speaking of some of the different shows, as we were walking through to get to the Carousel Lounge, you have to walk through the casino. This casino is definitely a smoking casino, and it emanates across the entire floor and across that entire area. We hated how smoky it was. We had a couple of friends that we met, and we would spend a little bit of time with them. We could only do a little bit short periods of time because it was just so smoky.
And we still had to quarantine our clothes.
We did.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you watched our first MSC video, you know how we felt about the gift shop. Well, we hated that experience. There was, again, I would love to be branded MSC right now. I'd love to be branded in a baseball cap. They had a lot of extra small jackets. Look at this rack of extra small jackets. And then they had t-shirts, but none of them were MSC related. In fact, they rolled out a new jacket midway through our cruise, and it didn't have an MSC logo on it. It was just like they went to a local store, bought a clearance jacket, and put it on the rack. It was weird. I would love to see some less of the upscale shops. I get it, they make more money there, but I'd love to see less of the upscale shops. And just add some MSC merch so that we can put more on this shelf back here, on our hats, and on our chests. So I don't have to do this. Okay, go ahead.
There
Take
you
it
go.
back.
Okay. And then speaking of different items that we wear, laundry. Hated that. The laundry is so unreasonably expensive. If you want to get some items washed, let's say 20 items. It's going to cost you $40 for 20 items to get laundered. That's not an acceptable amount. And it doesn't matter if you're a part of the status program or anything like that. There is no acceptance into the laundry services. It's all an upcharge.
Yeah, as
Hate that.
cruisers who have experience with loyalty programs, I'm going to just let the, look at that.
Oh.
As cruisers who
You're
have
onto something.
experience with free laundry, it was sad.
Yeah.
We hated that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's the list. I know we talked to several folks on board. They were frustrated about some of the exact same things that we were frustrated at. But Rocky, overall,
Yes.
between what you loved,
Yes.
what you didn't love, and what you hated, what do you think about MSC Meraviglia? How do you rate it?
I think that our sailing on there was fantastic. We still had a great time. We met some amazing people. The crew on board were amazing. The food, we did not go hungry. We always found something to eat that we enjoyed. And if it was something that we didn't love, guess what? You're on a cruise ship. It's easy to set the dish aside and go on for something else.
Speaking of, I forgot to mention this. Remember when Dipta said, yeah, most people that ordered that didn't really like that?
Yep.
Order a backup and I'll bring you the backup as
Right.
well. And he was right. It was not a good, the first dish was not good.
Right.
And so you're right. Just enjoy something
Something else.
something else.
So would I go back? Yes. Yes, I would go back onto MSC Meraviglia.
We really enjoy the brand. We enjoy the experience. The ships were great. Now, the next time we will likely book another MSC ship because we would like to see more in the fleet. But we really enjoyed the experience. The crew,
Yes.
we say it every time, the crew make all of the difference to your vacation, and they were fantastic.
Overall, I would give the sailing experience and the MSC Meraviglia 4.5 ships.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would quite go that high when I think about some of the experiences that we've had on Virgin and Norwegian, the Encore, and some of those other ships. But I liked a lot. I would probably still give it 4 out of 5 ships. I would go back. I would book it again, and I miss it already.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you found at least some nuggets of information that we shared with you as you prepare for your upcoming MSC cruise. Or if you haven't decided whether MSC is right for you, we hope that this gave you some clarity.
And if you still have questions, drop those down in the comments because we've been on this ship for many weeks now across our sailings. Go watch some of the Yacht Club videos because I think they're going to tempt you. They're going to tempt you very strongly to book the Yacht Club. But even still, I really enjoyed this experience. Now, we're going to do a full video comparing Yacht Club to the standard booking experience. So if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you know when that comes out.
Yes, and smash that notification bell so you know when any of our other content is released to the channel.
As always, thank you for tuning in and for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.